Yeah, this is Margaret Ann Windsor. I'm going to put this in right now. Bear with me for a second. Now, I hate to get through trying to do this, and it's not, I can't see it, so I don't know. Hope it's going to take anyway. I guess I'll find out and be highly upset if I do all this and it's not taking. First of all, I've just jotted this down. Some fella, nice person, young man, who I trust, made a statement, and I thought, well, it sounds like a little bit like this. I'm going to try it, how to do it. Used to have a dictaphone, and I hope this is going up. I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and I was kidnapped in 1941, born in 39. My father's Edward VIII, who didn't marry, never did marry. Wallace Simpson, nothing to do with it. She married a double, an imposter. And did I say she was an American spy? My father was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe from Madison, Wisconsin, school teacher, sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe. The Illuminati, which is your global government now, sitting down at the masquerading as the United Nations, was developed and came to be because they took my father down. He would not follow their orders. The Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, Kennedys, JFK helped in my kidnapping. Brought me to Lawrence County, Alabama, Moulton, near NASA, Huntsville. How do you think NASA was built? And on what? And, okay, now I want to get to this. I wrote a book, was writing it 76, 78, when Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, near Marietta, where I lived. And it was about the Tesla files that were stolen. Well, that was some of the information that came to be that you can cure an illness or create it, and you could do that back then. So this whole thing of charity and giving to find research to cure cancer and all of it's been a ploy, and used on God knows what, but new inventory that you wouldn't really need. So now I wanted to get to this. I've been telling about mind control, about my kidnapping and my real name. And I'm going to try to make this brief. I don't know how much time. I don't even know if this is going up right now. I have to turn it around. Can't see it. It's the wrong stand, first of all, they gave me. Okay, I'm going to mention this. My team that I hold to my heart is the Alabama Crimson Tide. About the only thing, but I mean, I grew up in Alabama where they took me. I had a rough time. And quite frankly, some of the people are okay down there, very nice, more so than some of the parts of the country. Let me put it that way. Amen. And anyway, what's they got to do with Alabama Crimson Tide? Mind control can be used to program armies without their knowledge, the specific person's knowledge. The Army, I guess, would know it. Just like Aurora, Colorado, James Holmes, and I'm going to get to that on one of these tapes in a minute, if I get it done. James Holmes was put in a mental hospital, given psychotic drugs. All these doctors know it. And these so-called pros that they put up there and quiz about Virginia Tech shooter, and it's so preposterous. Anyway, it's mind control used on it. And it's done at a level of hearing it's a signal. They're not aware they're getting it. Back when I started doing the book, I was made aware you could do it with, I'm talking like into this. And I bet this isn't going, and I'm going to be awfully hurt. By simple ham set and teaching the person at a low frequency, and they're not giving their okay, they don't even know it's happening, and then they go out and commit murders or develop cancer overnight, and there you go. It's hard to prove. So anyway, you teach them Morse code, and then now you've got your satellites, and if you mention anything, why, somebody will throw your mentally ill at you, which has nothing to do with it. And to feed James Holmes psychotic drugs for being programmed, which is illegal, a violation of his civil rights, is so horrendous. And this is what has been happened in all this. Now, what's this got to the Alabama Crimson Tide? I said before when they played, don't remember who they played earlier this year, I said something's wrong in this ball game. Everybody knows Alabama is, they really do, the best team. Now then, suddenly they get whipped by Clemson, and I'm going to get into that. That's near Greenville, South Carolina, and it's 40 minutes between the two, 27.75 miles. Now, what's that got to do with it? I'm not going to give the person's name that lived there, but they're very important in all this. Now, I don't know if this is even going here. I don't. I'll be sorry that I've wasted my time and didn't just hold it out front and get my nose. I want to get to this, though. I took my book, and I'm skipping what led up to that. In 1982, early 80, or mid, in the early summer, I think. No. When I went up there, but when I took this to Reagan at the White House, and his son, Mike Reagan, who's adopted, and he's a host on the news program or something, does DJ work or something. He had on his lapel, and I had done this book on medical malpractice and gotten a letter from the FBI on it, ongoing investigation, national security involved. And what else? Got where I'd sent it to publishers and had rejection, except one, I believe. I had all this information. One was Revell, and it went before their board, so it really was a rejection too. Also, Playboy magazine becomes involved, and they're the good guys, believe it or not. Everybody has made all these accusations and call Hugh Hefner names and Larry Flint name, and I don't like pornography. I also don't like what you all have done. I don't like doctors who rape, doctors that kill, and I don't like other people that do that. So how's that, Frosty? And all these women up here flouncing around, where were they when I went to NOW? Where are they now? Nobody would help us. My husband went with me till I was living at Moonraker when Larry Flint was shot in 78 in Gwinnett County, about 40 minutes, I think. I'm going to try to read some of this. You can follow me. And I want to go back to one thing. James Holmes, he shot all those people, or he was programmed to, so it's the programmers, and that's where the motive is. Grand Theater, Aurora, Colorado. Aurora comes back in here that I just see where Larry Flint was shot. The theater chain is now called Aurora. I believe I'm correct there. I'll see in a minute. I want to go to this. After I left Larry Flint's, excuse me. I've had a bad night. I had a headache I don't usually get all night long, so bear with me, please. I took the book up to Ronald Reagan's, and when I left there, it was logged in on the big book. They'd have to destroy a whole huge book. Had a letter from the FBI on the front of the box, the book inside, and a letter from Revell. Okay, so there's no way that they didn't know what it was. Well, here's what happened, and I'm not going to tell all of it. I can't. On the way back, I had no money. I was put on the side of, almost killed April Fool Day of 80, carried across the line to Alabama, to Huntsville by Lina Dempsey, mother of the twins. She killed the twins, and I was given Peggy's name, one of the twins. The other one was a boy, Carl. And I was stuffed in the car, and I'm going to leave that out. I've put it up anyway. I worked for the district attorney, Fred Simpson, in Huntsville, Madison County. I lived at Warren House in part of the time, and Haystack the rest. But while I worked for him, Fred Simpson, I lived at Warren House, as in the Warren Commission that covered up the Kennedy assassination, because there was programming done, but John Kennedy tried to have me killed. I mean, he helped kidnap me, was a party to all of it, the Kennedys were. And then little John Jr., I told the truth about it. He came up on the mountain here when I was living on the Appalachian Trail, he and his cousin. And by the way, they died in 1099, I guess it was, within 12 days of each other. It wasn't funny what they did to me, so I'll leave it there. The two of them were up there taunting me. They came to see how they'd made me live with their food they put out on the table. I had frozen and starved during the winter in this hiker's hut way up on the Appalachian, up there on the mountain, Trouttville. Now then, so I don't lose my, I bet this is not going to work. On the way back, if I can see here, I had the book. I had a copy of my book with me. I left them a copy, and I had a bag that was hard to carry. I had no money. It was October, around the 12th of October of 82. I'm trying to carry this stuff and get get back to Atlanta. I couldn't reach my children anymore. My husband or ex-husband had been a party to all this, good or bad. It would come across as bad. He wouldn't give me alimony that was due me in court, and that would have kept me off the street. Anyway, on the way back, I'm leaving out a lot of it because it was two Irish men, young fellas, they weren't young fellas, mid, tried to blame it on the English. I know better than that, fellas. Said they stopped in London and were told to do it. No, you weren't. You did it because you didn't like me, and my mother's Irish, by goodness, there. Anyway, I was so dead by that time. The shoes I had on, the straps were cut. They were for summer. I had no jackets or anything. I had a sweater on, I believe. And I'm going to say this. I was raped once. And then it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, so cold. So now then went into a convenience store just to get out of the cold and see if I could get a cup of coffee. And these two men came in from Ireland. And this man that raped me, I'm just going to be out there thrown out to get raped again, because this is what's happened to me. This makes me bad when Elizabeth and the people that kidnapped me and did all this to me and my children are bowed down to and thought to be honest, good, law-abiding Christians, or whatever faith. My God, they're looked up to. I did nothing wrong. I'm the victim, and so are my children. Anyway, the name of the town was Martinez, and that gets into a name game like Martinez, Florida, where Mayor Martinez's daughter Jennifer was kidnapped November the 16th of 81. Was that 82? No, that would have been 82. Yeah. That was prior to me, coming down from this trip I'm talking about from Reagan. They sent their henchmen after me. Anyway, make it short as I can. I got to, I was put out, and I had not slept, had nothing to eat. I did have a cup of coffee. I was put out at Martinez, right on the side of the road by the Irish fellas. And my mom's Irish. I want to remind you of that. So anyway, this red truck came along, old red truck. And this man stopped, and I guess he was in his 30s. Heavyset, ugly, dirty looking. But I've already had this happen to me, and I've had it happen to me. I was shoved out on the street, on the side of the friggin' road, shut down. Nobody would help me. And I'm going to tell you what he looked like. I had to try to trust him. I had my suitcase with the book and other documents, letters from the FBI, all that I had, carrying it. Okay, I got in the truck with him. What else am I going to do? I'm on the interstate. They've put me out And bear with me. I believe I did walk down into Martinez and try to get somebody to help me, and they wouldn't. So I got back up on the interstate and started walking, and that's illegal. It's Highway 20. But anyway, this is when this old red truck construction, had the name on the side, so that kind of leads you to think, well, maybe they're not going to hurt you or they might help you. So I get in and I showed him the letter of the FBI from them. I thought, well, if he's going to hurt me, maybe this will deter it. Well, I was so tired, and he seemed like he was nice, and he reached over. I know when I was so sick and out of it from lack of sleep and food. And he did something like turn the vent or something. And I thought, well, maybe that's a nice gesture. I woke up and he's in the forest there. And I thought the name of this hospital I was taken to was Thomaston. Now, this was out in the forest. I tried to look the forest up and I can't find it. Anyway, well, he took me out there and raped me. And I tell you who he looked like, because it gets into all this. The guy that played Grizzly Adams. And about that time, this actor had had his beard. I remember he was in a restaurant eating, and he got his beard on fire. Now, this is who this person looked like, only he was smelly, he was dirty, he was sick and mean, S.O.B. When I woke up, I fell asleep with the heat on and trust him. He was supposed to be going to Atlanta, where I was trying to get back to. God knows what I was going to do there. That's where I'd had the home, and I couldn't find my children, and my ex-husband wouldn't pay me alimony, so I could get off the street at least. And I'm leaving out all that happened April Fool Day of 80 when I was almost killed again, okay? So anyway, I bet this is going to go off in a minute, and I don't want to keep talking and not going up, so I'm going to check it in a minute, and I'm just going to hold it in my hand from then on. So he raped me. He tied my hands behind me, and you want me to get graphic? I was throwing up on his you-know-what when he tried to make me put my mouth on it. Now, this is what's happened to me, and that makes me bad? I was writing a book trying to tell you what was going on, and look what, and you'd already kidnapped me. I found out in 83, well, I've always looked back, and the Brits were there, the Germans, and some Americans. So anyway, this is what the SOB did. The odor was so foul, but who wants to put your mouth down on his private part, this son of a bitch? And if they put me off of YouTube because I use those words, and something's wrong with YouTube. He tied me up. Now, I'm not going to say the rest. He didn't make me do that because I was throwing up. So anyway, he put me up against the truck, and I'm going to tell you, and he raped me. Okay? From behind. Isn't that sweet? And then I was tied up, and he took my papers, my purse, which Shaq Hartsfield ended up with, in Huntsville, my friend that did save my life over there. And I'm going to have to turn this and see if it's going up, and I'm just going to put this, not do it on the stand. Well, it did go up, so I don't know if it went up good or not. I'm going to title this, I forgot what, I'm going to title this, number 1, Mind Games and Programming. Okay, let me do this before it goes off.